Hey, Kamela here with Creative Moms Decant. So I found these pizza peels on Amazon for really cheap. If you're a member of our Creative Mom group, you saw my link on that. And you got two of them. So they are the perfect item to sell. And I'm going to show you what I do with them. And I'm going to show you how to make stencils using Cricut Design Space. Let's get started. We're going to show you how to make a stencil in Design Space. And that's the first thing we're going to do today. So I'm going to delete this basic shape. I know I use basic shapes all the time to lay out my designs. This and this wheat are what I would like to stencil. And the rest of this I have positioned exactly how I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and click weld. And then we're going to grab a shape. And it's super, super simple. I'm going to unlock it and I'm going to place it over the item, and we're going to just place it over the amount that I need to make enough room so that my stain doesn't get in places I don't want. So that's going to be plenty of room there. I'm going to go ahead and select them both, and I align center just because it will help my lining up on the board, and then slice. And this time, which is not normal, but we're going to keep the stencil part and get rid of these, which, usually when we're slicing, we don't do that. I'm going to grab one more shape. We're going to do it one more time here. It didn't really matter what shape. I grabbed both the rounded and the squares. Unlock. Drag over. I want plenty of room on this one. I want to look at where I'm at. All right. I don't quite need that much, but I do want plenty of room. With fine lettering, I don't want any issues, and I want to be able to push that vinyl down and not worry. So we're going to align and center. You could eyeball it, would not matter. It just helps me for lining up on my board. Then we click slice, and this is the stencil we want, so both of these layers can go. And so we are ready to send our pizza peel stencil project to my Explorer 3. So I'm going to go any material. That's what I'm using today. And this is going to be fine with me to get those off, and then we'll have one more page. So continue. And I'm going to go ahead and get this cut, and then I'll show you the weeding, because of course weeding's going to try to trick us. We'll be right back. So I'm using a high gloss black vinyl, and there's a reason behind that, because I'm going to protect it with Mod Podge. But I wanted to show you how this cuts. So I want to cut on this side of that square. So you see, and then of course I'm going to watch carefully with my letters. Sorry if you can't see, but I definitely need to. It's a tiny area. If you went a little bit into your square, it wouldn't really matter. I definitely don't want to get your letters. All right. And then to weed these, you have to kind of trick your brain, so I like to get them out of the way first. So I'm going to weed the outside of that box that we made, the weeding box. Okay? And then I'm going to weed the inside. So I'm weeding the actual design. So I'm just going to start and get all of the pieces of this wheat out. I really do just weed to my fingers because it just is quick. I've tried the weeding rings, and sometimes I do use them if I'm really doing a lot, but I don't know. It's easy just to throw it on my fingers. So once you get all the pieces out of whatever you're slicing, then this is actually ready to transfer to your board. And you're going to want to do the same thing with the letters and the eye dots and things like that. So just remember, we're weeding the inside because we want a stencil. All right, I'm going to finish my weeding off camera, and then we're going to be back for how we're going to place this. And now what we're going to do, with our stencils that we just made with Cricut Design Space on our pizza peel. Alright, so I'm just finishing weeding. I wanted to remember to tell you, I used a scrap for this yellow one, and you can use anything, so it doesn't, any color, any scrap that fits for stencils, they're going to serve a purpose and then they're going to disappear. So I'm going to set this to the side and open up these pizza peels. I absolutely love making stencils on my Cricuts. I will tell you that, and these are actual pizza peels, and I'm going to tell you how I keep them that way. So they are food grade. But I've never tried such tiny letters, but I think it's going to be okay as long as we get it down. So what I mean by keep them that way is this is the side, it's slanted on this board. So this is the side that I would want to use for my pizza. So I am going to decorate the back side of it, and then I'm going to put my bow on this side, and I would just, add a classy little note if you were giving it as a gift or selling it, to use this, this side to hang it so that your pizza side doesn't show. That's also going to keep sauce stains, which, that's going to happen, right? So that will also keep your stains hidden, so grease and things like that. But they are food grade, so. And it came in a 2-pack. I'm going to set the other one to the side. I'm really thinking Curé board for that one. But anyway, that's another day. So I am going to start peeling these stickers. You could easily transfer these with transfer tape. And usually I can peel them. There we go. But you can peel it too. If you have really, really fine lettering, the peel it may not be the best idea. So this is about as fine as I will go. And I am going to leave that A center on there for a moment. Don't throw that away. All right, little staticky. However, I want this down here in this corner. So there's where that's going to go. I'm going to go a little further to the corner. And you really do want to try to place it one time. And I think that looks good. So, and then you want to use your scraper and really get this down solid. Where did mine disappear to? Okay, we'll use this one. And carefully making sure all those inserts are good to go. The skinny lines, make sure that's sealed down tight. I am using permanent vinyl, and that is what I use. And I have no issues taking it off once I use it as a stencil. But it may depend on the surfaces and things like that. So I'm going to grab the center of this A because it will be needed for this project and place it right in there. You probably could have done this with transfer tape easier than I'm doing here, but I'm going to grab my tweezers and make it work. Maybe, maybe not. It really wants to live on my finger. All right, so it's real snug at the top here. Now I'm going to get it off the tweezer, and I'm really going to give that a good push and twist to make sure it's down and nothing is moving here. I'm going to go ahead and place my other ones as well. So, and that won't really matter. It's going to stick a little and sound terrible, but it'll be fine. All right, let's do our loaf of bread here. And it's going to be the same thing. We're going to have to transfer that, and I am going to grab a piece of transfer tape for that. And I am going to mark myself my center here in my stencil. I do that a lot and just pinch it because I want to eyeball this center up here and get it centered at the top. And no wrinkles in at least where your design's at when you place these. I have a little one right here, if you can see that, and I am going to work that bad boy out. No wrinkles. It is really wanting to wrinkle over there. But if you do wrinkles, it's going to make your transfer tricky, obviously. So really working those out on my edges and then making sure it's all sealed. There we go. And I'm going to grab my transfer tape to get the rest of that on. Let's grab this one. All right, for this one, I do want to also kind of set this where it's going to go. And let's center and take a peek here because that wheat's going to need to be placed very carefully on the side. So that was our center of our bread. So bring that down. All right. And then the wheat stencil will slide in here just like this. All right, I'm going to go a little bit closer. And then I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to do the tack and pull method for this one. So I'm keeping my left hand very firm on the board and the vinyl while I'm working this corner up. Maybe. I'm going to try this one. Sometimes they don't. There it goes. Okay. So I'm going to get this corner up. And then fold this back and place this corner on. And then I can lift this way and place my stencil down right where I planned. And again, watching those wrinkles. I'm working a few of them out here. No wrinkles. And definitely pressed down really, really well. I will give it all one more press before I get our stain out. So I'm going to grab my transfer tape and transfer my loaf of breads in this stencil, and then I think we're going to be good to go here. All right, so I am just transferring this bread. I went ahead and grabbed another sheet of transfer tape while I was in that spot so that we can transfer that later. And I'm just going to place this bread in here. Exact. May have to get up on top of it. There we go. All right. A little bit tricky, but going to be worth it. I think this is going to turn out just so cute. So that's perfect. All right, so what I have in this jar right here is stain. It is a dry powdered stain that Creative Corner introduced me to, and I'm hooked. You can grab it on Amazon. It doesn't stink. It works really well for simple projects like I do, and you just mix it with water. It comes as a powder, and you mix it with water. The other cool thing is the more water you mix it with, the lighter the color is, and of course the less the darker. So I'm going to go ahead and dip. I'm using a dainty brush because I really want to keep this, carefully put all this in, especially these letters. I really want everything to be pushed down and ready. I told you I was going to give it another one, and I just can't resist one more even. The better these are down, the better it will look. That I definitely know without a doubt. All right, let's trust the process. And then I'm just going to lightly stain inside my stencils here. And you can also do multiple coats with this stain. I will tell you, it really doesn't seem to change the color very much. So I'm just going to stain my stencils here. And when I'm done, I will grab a wipe and I will wipe up the edges because that way, because it's not going to dry on my vinyl, and so that way it doesn't get in my way in a little bit when we're trying to pull these off. So just dabbing all this in. I got really heavy down here. I'm going to move it around. I won't mind a textured look a little bit because I like that look, that old-fashioned, but it looks like I'm going solid, so I think I'm going to try to make sure I get it solid. All right, and the wheat is the last one. This is going to be really neat. These are fun, and they're really easy. Quite that much. I really have a light brush this time, so I'm going to go back over this a little bit and bring that light brush onto that wheat. I really like it. It's going to be just light over here. All right, and let's grab a wipe. And then I'm just going to dab these out. Don't really want to rub them, but I'm going to dab. So dab any extra stain off. And if your wipes, just turn it around. Don't be tempted to rub. And then you want to let this dry. I will also say this water-based stain dries really quick, but I'm going to recommend that you at least let this sit 30 minutes before you get anxious. And also dabbing all of the excess off. You can wipe on the bottoms, but dab everywhere. And once that's done, everything can be cleaned up, and we will let this sit for about 30 minutes. See you in a few. All right, so I'm sure it's dry. Let's go ahead and switch, and we'll just let it dry a little bit more. And why I'm doing that, or why that's doing that, I'm going to center this up on this paper, on this printed transfer tape, because it will help me get it center on the board. So, all right, I've got all that. So I just did my fold and marks, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this whole sheet off here, which I know is crazy, or at least crazy for me. And then, actually, I'm going to go reverse here on this board. I forget, but I love using my gridded board, and I can even take these grid lines all the way to center by using my lines here. So that's what I'm doing. And now everything will be center if I can get this on there center, right? That way. And then this way, and that wasn't quite on it. Okay. So that's my spot, upside down here. And here's my spot. And move my finger. All right. I did not get that straight. I don't know what I was doing today. Being silly. All right. You don't want to pull it back up. So I will do a better job of eyeing it in the other way and know that my grid transfer tape did me no good. I'm back and forth on whether to continue buying gridded transfer tape because this happens to me often. But gridded transfer tape is nice for acrylic blanks. So like when I'm making keychains or magnets, I really like them. I like it for that. So I'm back and forth. All right. Let me know in the comments. Are you a gridded transfer tape user or a non-gridded? Or if you've never tried it, what do you think? What do you think you would try for first? All right. So, I'm stuck to it now. Oh my, the crookedness. That was amazing, wasn't it? All right, let's set this to the side and see if we turned out better on our stain stuff. Oh my goodness, yes. The wheat's looking really pretty. I love it. The words I'm nervous about. Let's hope they can be read when we pull this completely off. So it bled. Oh, I'm sorry. It did bleed a little, but I don't think it's bad. And it has that wood burned texture. And I kind of like that texture on things. I like it, and it can definitely be read. I think it looks like a breadboard. I love it. That's what I'm going for. Let's bake some bread. All right. Pull the A off. You can definitely read that, so I'm happy. But you do have to be careful with the little bit of bleeding. Let's pull this off. These were fine lines as well. We were tempting fate here. Ooh, this bread is going to look warm and toasty. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. It looks stamped into the wood. I think that's my favorite part. I love it. That was on there good. All right. So just know that they do bleed just a little, especially if you're trying fine lines. I will say when I did my big C, which is on the thumbnail, so the picture at the beginning of the video, and I also shared it in our creative group, the bigger things are a little bit easier, but these fine lines for this I think look fabulous. Let's get our design on. So I'm going to line this back up by doing my fold method so that I can ignore my transfer tape. Pretend I'm using non-gritted transfer tape, so I'm folding this way as well. And let's see where we end up here. All right. The nice thing about transfer tape is you can see through, so that really helps. Also, designing on Design Space, we kind of knew where everything went, right? All right, I'm going to call that good, and we're going to push it down on the board. So I do recommend that you seal this with something, because the vinyl, even though it is permanent, doesn't really like wood. You do not have to, and indoor it should be fine, and definitely assuming that they don't, you or your customer does not use this side for the grease. But if they accidentally use this side, it's not going to take very many uses, I don't think, to ruin or pull off, especially some of these fine letters. So you've got a couple choices for sealant, and you have to do what you are comfortable with. So Mod Podge would be, you can buy dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and that would probably be my #1 recommendation, just because the Mod Podge would be able, you'd be able to clean the other side up, and so because it is dishwasher safe, and then it also seals and it dries clear. So that would be my first recommendation. You could, especially if you're doing it for yourself, cover this with a varnish of some kind and shine it up, and I think that would be really pretty. All right, so why do I have a piece on here? Did something rip? Yes, it did. All right, I'm going to cut this out and get that placed back on my vase that decided to rip on me. I got too anxious at the end. And you can add a bow to these, and I think that adding the bow, it can be a win or lose, because when you add the bow, it makes it look like this is the side you use even more, I think. So just be careful with that. But I do, when it's hanging on the wall, I love a classy little bow on it. I am definitely, I like bows and things like that. Kind of sometimes I can even go a little bit above what the common people like with, and I don't mean to call you common if that's what you like it, but with, I tend to go against the trends. There we go. And I do. So, bow or no bow would be completely up to you, but they broke bread and their homes ate together with glad and sincere hearts. I absolutely love the pizza peel. This side is 100% usable. When you cover it with Mod Podge, this side could be washed as well, and it would protect it from an accidental use of this side, which could definitely happen. Thank you so much for joining my pizza peel stencil video. Have a joyful day, friends. Bye.